Hello peeps, long time no see. Well, it's been about a week. As you can see, went out last night, got a nice boot full. Got a microwave made by Bellin. It's rather a good make. I normally don't pick up microwaves, but I figured I'd pick that one up because it's a good make. Chances are it might have copper windings. What else have we got? Apart from a puncher, which is why I've got my spare space saver on. Picked up two PCs. A mystery item which looks like a big amp, and an overhead projector which I think I'm going to do a strip out on in a while. So we'll get the camera up on the roof and strip that out. And while I was out, picked up some huge grey Optimus. Is he Optimus Prime? I don't know who he is, but he seems to open up and shit. I don't know. And his eyes light up. I quite like it. I don't know why. 50 years old, I shouldn't really be playing with toys, but you know, I've got my big toys to play with. I don't need my little toys to play with. Also got some rather nice pictures. The Terrace, Central Park, New York, New Orleans, City of St. Louis. Nice little watercolours. What's this? Canal Bridge by L something. Oh, Lowry. Is that Matchsticky Men? Matchstick Cats and Dogs. That's some nice pictures I picked up last night. Absolutely worth nothing. Probably shouldn't have picked them up, but there you go. Right, well, we've had a quiet couple of weeks. It's always quiet during the summer. I've got one PC there I've got to process, which I had 2 days ago. Nice big metal fan and a modem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all that stuff out of the car, set you up on the ceiling, on the old ceiling mount that you can't see because it's too dark up there. Can you see it? It's just there. And then we'll get back to all the upside down and back to front tomfoolery because I can never remember how to use the camera upside down and back to front because I'm an idiot. Anyway, ta-da for a bit, and I'll be back upside down and back to front in the mo. Ta-da. Right, well, what we've got here is a couple of cheap, crappy, generic computers, both the same make, unbranded, 500 watt power bricks in them, Asus motherboards, both identical, obviously from an office. Dumped in a plastics recycling skip, because of course the front's plastic, so you can dump this sort of shit in a plastics recycling skip and get away with it and still feel good about yourself. Right, so I've got no hard drives. They've gone as far as to take the hard drive out, so they're not that stupid. It's just a generic crappy motherboard, generic crappy CPUs, no doubt. Am I going to be able to read this without having to get the embarrassing Sherlock Holmes-esque magnifying glass out? Well, I'll have to because I can't find my magnifying glass. 2 gigs. Very small RAM nowadays, aren't they? So there we got some minute MIDI RAM, 2 gigs. No, it's not worth selling. If it was 8 gigs I could sell it. If it was 4 gigs I might get a few quid for it, but 8 gigs, just stick it in the pot and wait in a few years when you've got loads. Now all I'm going to do here is just cut out the wiring. Not that it's really worth taking out because it's not exactly high spec wiring, but I cut off all these plugs. If they've got gold pins in them I cut them off, I collect them, I put them into a pot. I sell them on eBay. People buy them for gold recovery. I don't do gold recovery. I haven't got the space to do it. I haven't got the chemicals to do it. I haven't got the will to do it. Sell it on to somebody else and probably make more money than I would have done if I'd gone for the gold recovery. See, the trouble is everybody looks at these computers and thinks, oh, gold recovery, and yes, you can recover gold from them. Sure you can. No worries there. But can you recover the platinum, the palladium, the rubidium, all the other iniums and atnums that I can't remember the name of? Because if you can't, you're just being as wasteful as the person that stuck this in a plastics recycling bin. you may just as well throw it away yourself. It's no good going for the gold when the gold only makes up maybe 10% of the precious metals that is recoverable from these sorts of balls. Does that make sense to anybody? Makes sense in my head. Usually doesn't make sense once it comes out of my gob. But I'll just have a little faith it does make sense to somebody, and somebody will say, yeah Rob, that's it. Yeah, no worries. I just hope that somebody says, yeah, that's right, Double D, that makes perfect sense. Makes sense, yeah, that's sensible, well done. And I'll have to sit there thinking, what the fuck am I talking about? Which, to be fair, why should I not think that? Most other people who know me end up thinking that 95% of the time anyway. So, anyway, enough of my waffle. There you go, motherboard out. Basically a pile of crap that nobody wants, and is probably worth about £1 in scrap if I'm lucky. It's not the green motherboards. It's going to be metal socket, which is the lowest form of motherboard anyway. So I'm not going to become a millionaire. Certainly not by this time next year, Rodders. Ooh, look at the state of that. What we got? Pinless? Yep. Pinless CPU. Pretty much worth bugger all. Metal socket motherboard. Pretty much worth bugger all. Gold corner BGA. Not a bad one actually, it hasn't got all the crap around it. Looks quite nice. Whether it is nice or not, what do I know? Oh look, well, that's not even copper. Looks copper, that's aluminium. Anodised copper coloured. Everything about these boards is cheap. Cheap, cheap, cheap. Fortunately I've got a really nice computer in the other day. It was a really old model. It was one of them basic sort of, you know, beige coloured things. I think you might have seen it as it was laying outside. That was the motherboard that came in it. Small socket, green. Nice gold corner BGA down there. Some IC chips. Don't think there's any flat packs. Flat packs are the ones that got 4 sides to them, aren't they? So no. Half decent motherboard. Also weighs twice as much as this. It's just, even though it's got the metal socket, it just weighs nothing. But we'll see when I come to weigh it all in a couple of years. Put my CPU in my CPU pot. Yes, I've got a pinless CPU pot and a pinned CPU pot. It's not even a copper stacker heatsink, it's just pure aluminium. Goes to my scrap man. I can't be asked to take in big ass bags of aluminium just to earn £5 or £10. Don't bother with aluminium. I normally don't bother with stainless steel, but I've got a lot of sinks at the moment, so I'm probably going to do a stainless steel run in a couple of weeks. Anyway, I'm not going to bore you with going through these 3 identical computers. I'm going to get through these and I'll come back to you when I've got something a bit more, well, a bit less boring. I wouldn't say more interesting, but less boring. I don't think that's necessarily the same thing. I'll get back to you in a bit, peeps. Ta-da. Right then, peeps, what we've got here is a projector. A Benique. I like to think what it's really pronounced like. Looks like it's got quite an interesting motherboard inside it of some sort. And a power pack. It's probably just like a mini PC. I've already undone the screws. Well, I've undone most of the screws. There's obviously one left on there. I don't know if you can see that. It's not as boring as I thought it was going to be. Definitely better than that overhead projector I picked up the other month. That had like 2 things in it. I like taking things apart. I haven't took apart before. It's a bit of an adventure. I've done it since I was a kid. I think it all started off when my mate Lee Golder, or Lee Tregear, he changed his name halfway through school. Didn't want to take his stepdad's name. His stepdad gave us an old valve radio. I think it was his nan's or something. Anyway, we took it apart. And I quite enjoyed it. And I haven't stopped taking things apart yet. Oh, there we go, look. Rather interesting little board. Got lots of stuff on it, ish. Well, it's got a flat pack anyway, which is better than nothing. I'm suspecting there'll be more under that, because that's where most of the sockets are on the back. Under that. So, just making sure the back of my fat head's not getting in the way. Trust me, you wouldn't want the front half of my fat head to get in the way. Somebody help him. What is holding that in? Little shite. Oh, I bet it's these bleeding things. It's always the same. Under all the screws you can see, there's always a hidden screw. Or does it just unplug? I don't know, let's bend stuff. Bending stuff always makes stuff come loose. I think this is why I like scrapping so much. It's alright being a mechanic, but you have to put stuff back together again. No, that's all bolted to that back cage, so I'm going to take all this back plate off. Looks like the looks like there's more screws to undo. Let's shut this off for a minute, I'll be back in a sec. Right, sorry about that. Local kids had lost their ball on top of the garage roof, and when they go up to get it, they sound like a herd of elephants stampeding across the savannah above my head. So, where was we? Oh yeah, he's busting the shit out of this, wasn't he? Oh look, inner gubbins. Yeah, bloody hell, was you supposed to get to any of that before without breaking shit? I don't know. Not that I'm complaining, I like breaking shit. Let's just take stuff apart. Now we can see screws. And bits of interesting electronics should fall off into their laps-ish. Possibly, maybe. Oh, that could just be fancy. Looks like it's going to be fantasy. Everything's double, treble and quadruple screwed on because they like to be annoying. And although there is some boards down here, it's mainly stuff like this. I'll have that off because it's got a nice bit of number 2 copper windings on it, if you remember. I always telling you number 2 copper's getting hard to get hold of. So grab it while you can. That can just go in the iron. In the frag pile. What else we got? Other stuff that you should really undo rather than snap off. Boring. But for the sake of a video, and probably you lot are standing there yelling boring anyway, but tough shit. It's your own fault for turning it to the channel. You're gonna get bored. Because most of the stuff I do is like this every day, day in, day out, which is why you don't get a video every day, because it's just not worth it. To be perfectly honest. That's supposed to have come off, was it? Take that off delicately. And we're going to have to undo every single one of these. And I bet they don't do like E-Base Ben does, he just snaps them off. He's like, yeah, click, they're off. Now these are going to have to be unscrewed by hand, every single bleeding one. Guarantee you. Right, well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. You see what I'm taking apart, you've seen what it looks like inside with its gut spread everywhere. I'm going to turn this off and get back to you and show you what I get out of it. Because the battery's going flat and I don't want to waste battery. See you in a bit, peeps. Right, well, it wasn't as exciting as I thought. That's the board I got out of it. It's got a flat pack on that side, another little flat pack there, memory chip I think, it's only got two sides of it to it. Gold corner BGA on this side, another flat pack. Not a lot, I stick it in my mid-grade stuff. I was hoping it'd be a bit more spectacular. Sometimes you get these projectors and they've got some really nice boards in them. That was that other back board. It's literally just there for connections. It's got some little tantalums and stuff like that. Or MLCC, I don't bloody know. It's got some little things on it. I don't know what they are. And there's a power board, so I'm going to nick the copper coils off of that. Take a bit of wiring off of it. And then it's going to go straight in the scrap. Because there's bugger all else in there to have. I've had one of these before and they come with a really nice big CPU with lots of gold on it, but this isn't one of those, so I'm not going to bore you by stripping any more out of it. All I'm going to do is cut some cable out of it because it's simple and it's pretty much in the way of what I want to actually get at. Each of these copper coils, what I do is I put them in a bag and I smash the crap out of them with a big hammer, and all the ferrite in the middle shatters. And then you pull the number 2 copper off. There's not a lot on there. It's not really worth doing unless you do it in a big batch with a big hammer. It's always fun doing something with a big hammer, isn't it? Anyway, another overhead projector with naff all in it. Pretty much a waste of time taking it apart. Will I do it again? No. But you've got to do it the first time to figure out whether or not you want to do it the second time. Anyway, I'm going to get that mystery amplifier item out, and if the battery lasts, I'll show you what's inside that. Back in a bit, peeps. Right, well, the mystery object is a mystery no more. It's a, can you see that? C Audio GB402 power amplifier. Which means it's probably going to have some big coils in the back. Only one way to find out if it's got some big coils in the back, and that's to have a look in the back, really. That didn't go anywhere I was expecting it to go. Okay, right, I'm going to turn the camera off because, as I say, the battery's going flat. When I've got the back off, I'll show you what's in it. So, you know, just wait, have a cup of tea, make some biscuits, get some biscuits, buy some biscuits, eat some biscuits, do something with biscuits. Back already? Did you have biscuits? Yeah? I had digestives. Is it that way or that way? I can never remember. Upside down, back to front. Anyway, the big reveal. Drum roll, please. Drum rolls past the screen. Yeah, well, okay. Come on. Ooh. Ooh, toroidalness, that's going to be a pig. These toroidal transformers, they look very nice and they've got a lot of copper around them, but they've got a steel core, so you can't smash them with a hammer like you can the small ones. The small ones that you see me take out just a minute ago, they've got, these have got a ceramic core. You hit these with a hammer, they shatter. Well, it's not, I don't think it's not a ceramic core, it's ferrite. You hit it and it breaks. These have got a steel core. So you literally have to sit there, cutting the tape and unwinding it for about 300 foot of number 2. Pain in the arse. Not really worth doing. This board has got one chip on it. These are all MOSFETs, which is why they've got a dirty great heat sink on them, which means they're basically a relay or a switch. And that's it. There's absolutely bugger all in here worth having. I'll take this toroidal transformer out and cut the wires out, and then I should just fill it up with crap and put it back in the scrap heap. It looks very interesting, but the reality of most things is they look more interesting on the outside than they do on the inside. A bit like talking to Einstein. Looks a very interesting person. I'm sure when you talk to him he was a really boring old twat with a funny hairdo. Maybe. Anyway, I'm going to strip this because the battery's getting even lower. It's gone from yellow to red. I need to save some battery because I've got to do a little quick bit of video in the camper van, show you what I've been up to. Oh, and I might take that Belling microwave apart and let you know whether it's got copper inside it. I don't think it has, but it's a good make, so I brought it back anyway. Worst comes to worst, I can fill it up with metal crap. Give it to my scrap man and he can get himself another hernia. He hasn't had one for a couple of months. Ah, there we go. Hedging my bets. Ta peeps. So, was I right or not? Half and half. Well, it's in the picture. I can't get it in the picture. Big windings, aluminium, small windings, copper. And this is a decent make. This is a Belling and Lee. I mean, it's a combination one, so That's why it was heavy, but at least it's got half copper windings. This is the first one I've found with any copper windings in, well, apart from the industrial ones I just earlier on in the lockdown. It's been about 6 months since I found a microwave that's had any copper windings in them, so at least it was worth opening up, I suppose, for one lot of copper windings. That's about half a kilo of copper windings, is better than nothing. Other than that, same as usual. Ta-ra, peeps.